Today, we are going to explore how to forgive someone who hurts you from a Buddhist-Zen perspective. Forgiveness is one of the most challenging and rewarding practices that we can undertake in our lives. It can free us from resentment, anger, and suffering, and open our hearts to compassion, peace, and joy. But how do we forgive someone who has hurt us deeply? How do we let go of the pain and move on with our lives? To answer these questions, I would like to share with you a beautiful and profound Zen story that illustrates the power and wisdom of forgiveness. This story is called The Two Monks and the Woman. There were once two monks who were traveling together. They were on their way to another monastery, and they had to cross a river. As they approached the river, they saw a young woman who was also trying to cross. She was wearing a silk dress and delicate shoes, and she was afraid of getting wet and dirty. The woman asked the monks for help, but they hesitated. They were followers of a strict sect that forbade them from touching or even speaking to women. The older monk looked at the woman and then at the river. He decided to break the rule and help her. He lifted her up in his arms and carried her across the river. He put her down on the other side and continued his journey with his companion. The younger monk was shocked and angry. He could not believe that his elder had violated such a sacred rule. He kept silent for a while, but he could not contain his feelings. He started to complain and criticize the older monk.
How could you do that? You know that we are not allowed to touch women, let alone carry them. You have sinned and disgraced yourself and our order. How will you face our master and the other monks?
The older monk listened calmly and patiently. He did not defend himself or argue with the younger monk. He simply said,
"I left the woman at the river. Why are you still carrying her?"
The younger monk was speechless. He realized that he had been holding on to his anger and resentment, while the older monk had let go of the situation and moved on. He felt ashamed and humbled. He understood that the older monk had not only helped the woman, but also taught him a valuable lesson. He learned that forgiveness is not a weakness, but a strength. He learned that forgiveness is not a betrayal, but a liberation. He learned that forgiveness is not a burden, but a gift. This story shows us that forgiveness is not about condoning or forgetting the harm that someone has done to us. It is about releasing ourselves from the negative emotions that bind us to the past and prevent us from living in the present. It is about choosing to heal rather than to hurt, to love rather than to hate, to be free rather than to be trapped. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is possible. It takes courage, compassion, and wisdom. It takes practice and patience. It takes a willingness to see beyond our own perspective and to understand the other person's point of view. It takes a recognition of our common humanity and our interdependence. It takes a realization that we are all imperfect and that we all make mistakes. Forgiveness is not a one-time event, but a process. It is not something that we do for others, but for ourselves. It is not a favor, but a gift. It is not a loss, but a gain. It is not a weakness, but a strength. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful and transformative practices that we can cultivate in our lives. It can heal our wounds, mend our relationships, and enrich our experiences. It can bring us peace, happiness, and freedom. It can make us better human beings. Hope that it has helped you to forgive someone who hurts you and to forgive yourself. Thank you for watching this video. I wish you all the best in your journey of forgiveness.